We are live streaming.
I knew that was coming.
We need new chairs?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Hi, how are you? Good. Little sleepy.
Me?
So, I had your leggings.
Boy, Katie was sick as a dog.
So you can't go on vacations.
I know, now we're all, the plane will flip over, it's said.
So it reset it.
Did I? Oh, I know, be very careful. I mean, the street's supposed to be redone. There's a couple really horrible ones. Yeah.
Like between like Franklin and Broadway there, yeah. Is that what you're talking about, or
Even
different?
further.
Oh, further? Oh,
South of William, there's some terrible ones.
Yeah, I mean, I hit a real big
oh.
pothole.
Oh, jeez.
I can't wait
Can't wait for what?
to get out of here.
He's not gonna be at the next.
Friday.
Must be nice. All you people going to places that are warm. I'm stuck here.
St. Lucia for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, we're doing a humanitarian medical mission with the Air Force.
So it's
For
work.
2 weeks, so,
Still, it's warm.
yeah. I mean, we're still gonna,
You're not doing it
we're
24/7.
not doing that.
Some downtime.
Then I might feel bad for you, but no.
Yeah.
I'm going to Aruba on Thursday.
You are?
Yeah.
Where you going?
Yeah, I'm going maybe back to my jacuzzi tub. That's what
I don't even have that.
See, this is basically Patrick's last name should be.
Yeah.
you gotta get them to change it.
Yeah. You probably just not pronounce the L, isn't that
No,
silent?
it's not in his.
Darn.
Yeah, that would have been too easy.
They wouldn't have said it. Get out of here. That's it, they don't, it doesn't look like it. Now it doesn't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Lancaster Town Board Work Session for February 18th, 2025. This evening, we're going to begin with two developers who are going to be doing presentations for the Town Board. The first one up is ESG Properties, 6125 Genesee Street. And is it going to be Corey? Yes. Okay.
Good evening, members of the town board. My name is Ari Goldberg from Barclay Damon, represent ESG Properties. Kathleen Rogers is with me tonight as well. For some of you, this project may be relatively familiar. The town board previously approved a special use permit associated with the soil recycling facility at 6125 Genesee Street. Since then, the team here from ESG got the ball rolling on the facility and began its operation. However, in working with the town code enforcement officer, it was determined that technically the facility was not in strict compliance with the special use permit approval from this town board. That resulted in some action by the town board and the code enforcement officer. It also resulted in the submittal of the present application before you. So what we're looking is to get the ball rolling on that application, sort of restart an iterative review process with the town. And what that includes is the town's approval of facility as it is now. Let me see if I can put these back to back. On the right-hand side, this one that's not colored is what was approved. And then on, sorry, yeah, the right side, then on the far left, you can correct me if I'm getting it wrong, Kathleen, is what is proposed. Yeah, so there's not too much difference. One of the things we've already discussed in advance was the location of the detention basins and the volume. I think they don't exactly line up, but the volume is the same of what exactly drains to that area. And then the other one was a scale house, which was revealed when the team began construction. They determined there was already an existing scale house on the property, so they went with what was there instead of what was approved. So what's before you tonight is just to start the referral process to the planning board. Concurrent with the special use permit before you, we submitted a site plan application as well. So we'll be back here eventually for a special use permit public hearing, but we're looking to go before the planning board, and of course we welcome any initial feedback right now. Thank you.
Matt, any comments?
I haven't seen what was proposed yet. May have been some preliminary drawings, but we can go through the process of review and
Okay.
move forward.
Town board, any questions? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is going to be Nyacom. Daniel?
How's it going, everybody?
Good, how you doing?
Good. So my name's Jacob Kaburski. Dan's out on PTO this week.
Okay.
Just we had to reschedule. I do have with me a copy of the map books that we use to deploy our fiber optic network in the municipalities we work in. Our understanding is we presented you guys the terms from Amherst as well, just to see questions you guys had related to our construction deployment, everything else. So.
I think one of the problems we had with some of the other companies, they didn't really tell us everything they were going to be doing. So we asked you here to give us kind of like a summary. You guys are going to go right up to the houses, right?
Yeah, so in the neighborhoods, we build in the right-of-way. So we build in the area where the other utilities are located. When we come to a customer's home, we'll place it looks like a valve control box you'd see for irrigation or like a dog fence control. We'll put those in a customer's property, and then when they order services, our technicians will come out, they'll install the drop to the customer's home. They'll bury it to that handhole that's located at the curb, and that connects back to our main network. We have a cabinet facility, I believe, I cannot recall the road, it's over near Americo Drive, which is where we're looking to put our cabinet facility for everything to tie in, which will then connect back to our main ring, which is located over on Union Road in French. So.
Okay. Prices, do you guys have your prices already, what it's going to cost for service?
Yes. So our prices are available on our website, nyacom.us. I believe our 500 meg service is at $50. Our 1 gig service is $60. Our 2 gig service is at $90. And then we do have 10 gig service rolling out, which we've rolled out in the city of Buffalo, mostly in MDU properties, but we're starting to deliver to customers' homes in Clarence currently. And customers will be able to order 10 gig, which we offer at $120.
Okay. And where are you at right now? How much have you done? And
Yeah, we're actively deploying in the Riverside, Black Rock areas, building that area as well as downtown Buffalo. The Elmwood district mostly is our target right now. We've also got a large customer base in Clarence, which was our initial deployment.
Okay, and when will you be coming to Lancaster?
Our engineering's ready to go, so once we get this agreement started, our teams are ready to start working.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? No?
Your name, please?
Yeah, Jacob Kaburski.
And can you-
Jacob, oh,
I'm sorry. Just for the record, could you spell your last?
Yeah, no problem. It's Kuberski.
Thank you.
Jacob, I wondered, so when you do start in Lancaster, you intend to start near your hub by America?
Yeah,
Move
so
out from there kind of thing? What kind of phases do you have going, you know,
Yeah.
south?
That we can, so this here covers our initial areas, and I'll leave this with the review, and we can send this over digitally as well. But this covers our target general areas. We're looking at most of the newer communities built after late 90s, where almost all the utilities are underground. We're targeting those areas first, and then going from there, spreading out deeper into Lancaster. So it's starting at the Transit Road. I believe our, right at Transit and French where the Tops is where we're looking to come over and across. We've got that submitted with DOT already. From there, we'll be building in like the Enchanted area and a few of the other newer subdivisions, and then building out and connecting to the others. We know GoNet Speed and other providers are in the area. They've primarily focused on aerial deployments and aerial neighborhoods. They've left a lot of these newer developments out, and they're stuck in Spectrum. So we
What
want to
about
fill that
coming
gap.
into the village area?
We'd like to be able to. So the plan is to cover as much of Lancaster as we can.
Okay. I'm a village resident.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, and I'm interested in options. I'm sure there's other.
Buffalo's always been technologically starved. I grew up in Lackawanna. I've lived in Buffalo my whole life. It took forever. I got Verizon across Transit Road. That felt good. When they started building in Clarence to compete with us, that felt really good. So we care about our neighbors.
Thank you.
Great. Mark, any questions?
No.
Okay.
No, well,
Sure.
how much better are you than Green Lake, the rest? What, so this is a sales pitch, so.
Yeah, we pride ourselves on making the service as stable as best as it can be. We take them, I come from a long history of working with telecom companies. A lot of our team does as well. So we've learned the mistakes of what not to do, how not to be the phone company, how not to be like that to a customer. We operate with no contracts, no installation fees. Wireless equipment is included. We do have a value-add service, whole home wireless assurance. What it basically does is, today if you have Spectrum and your Roku doesn't connect, everything else works, but your Roku doesn't. You call Spectrum, they're gonna get you off the phone as fast as possible. And if they don't, they're gonna roll a truck and charge you $100. For $5, you have full coverage. We're gonna come out, we'll troubleshoot, we're not gonna fix your Roku, but we'll get it connected to the internet. We'll get you online, we'll get your device operating. And it also includes things like for larger homes, which we've seen in Clarence, in some of these newer divisions we're looking, we can place additional repeaters in your home to give you that full coverage to make sure that you're actually getting the service you're paying for without having to run out to Best Buy and drop $400 on a router. So.
Very good. Perfect.
I like the repeaters.
Anything else?
I don't have anything to add. For
I've got one question. How are you, when you're dealing with, in the right-of-ways, county, state, town, how are you dealing with the highway departments?
I'm not sure I follow.
Well, like in Lancaster, if you're going to work in the right-of-way on a town road, you need a highway permit.
Yes, so again, working with the towns, the municipalities, making sure we have all the licensing and right-of-way agreements in place. So, and making sure that we're meeting your expectations for things like insurance coverages and notices, as well as 811. We work closely with NYSEG because traditionally we're faster than them. So we work closely with them to make sure that we can keep their workload clear so they can go out and flag so that we work safe.
Matt, anything?
Does the infrastructure of your facility end up in the right-of-way or in the utility easements that are already existing and where there's already fiber optic equipment?
We build within the right-of-way itself. If we're going into something like an HOA and we have to do a private easement, we'll work with the HOA developer in order to build into that easement. If there's new developers building areas, we like to work with them so that we can work in that joint trench as well to try to minimize that possibility of risk when installing. But traditionally, we stay within the right-of-way and then report everything to UDIG and make sure everybody has as-built to where our plant is.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. Appreciate it. And could I leave these if you would like a copy of these?
Great. Thank you. Give it to the attorney, I always say. We'll get that around. All right, what we normally do now in our meetings is go around to the department heads, and that's what we're going to do this evening. I promised to start over on the table with Matt Ficcione. So Matt?
Oh, yes, thank you. I'm going to repeat myself, and I've said this just about every meeting this winter. Please be mindful of your snow removal operations. It's stormwater. We need to place it in portions of the yard that are meant for snow storage. The town right-of-way is not that place. This morning, working with our highway department, we issued 22 individual notice of violations. Just the plow operators pushing snow out into a roadway, that results in additional hours and effort and material to keep our roads slip-free, if you want to call it. And that's why we have 35-foot setbacks for front yard and our residential occupancies. That's where your snow has to go. The curb lawn is specifically meant for street snow storage.
Okay.
But other than that, we just keep plugging away, and we're trying our best to keep up with the workload. It's a little light, thankfully, but it's there.
Thank you. Ed?
Just a quick update on a bunch of projects here. Siebert Road, we're close to DOT sign off. As of an email today. Ellicott Creek FEMA project, it's on hold until spring, till the weather breaks, they can get out there and do some field work. Police building, we have some decisions to make, what to do with the facade up there. Be part of the capital planning or whatever we're gonna do this winter. Walden Pond turf, Rick apologizes, he was trying to get me some information. I talked to him today, he was attacked by a pit bull over the weekend, so he's been laid up for a few days, but he said he hopes to have something this week to us. Design is pretty much done. We talked about some stone issues, and he's getting me those final quantities, and then we'll deal with whether or not we can get some donated or whatever we're gonna do for him.
Okay. Yeah, I got one price. I don't think I sent it to you yet, so I'll
Okay.
send it to you. It came from John.
Okay. Library's pretty much done, done this week. They were waiting for two accessories. One was I think it was a towel holder, and one was a diffuser for the ceiling, which Cameron said that they got in this week, so he'll have those in, and they should be pretty much finished. And as far as I know, this last time I asked, the staff was pretty happy with the results over there, so.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. Went over and took a look.
New York Forward, we're dealing with SHPO. Submittals are in, going back and forth on what they require. All the other environmental questions are answered. That's the only one outstanding, and I'm still waiting for some information from the Opera House on what's going on up there, which is the sound and the lighting. I need their specs that they called out so that we can put that bid package together also. And then the sign out front, which they want to change from the side of the building to the front, which is fine, but that also has to go through SHPO, which we're in the process of doing.
Okay.
The other project that, waiting for some information back from the state, is the senior center. I'm losing track of years. I think it's the 2023 grant, which was the flooring, siding, roof, that type of thing.
Right.
We're waiting to hear back on procurement requirements. I've got the contract, read through it, silent on procurement, and I know they've got procurement requirements, so, and if we don't follow, we'll be in trouble. So we've reached out and said, send us your procurement requirements for minority and women-owned businesses and all that stuff. As soon as we get those, then we can put those packages together. I think that's it. 2024 senior center grant, we haven't done anything with it yet at all.
Not yet.
No. So, and the only other grant currently outstanding is dog control, but I don't think we've heard anything back from the state
Not
that
yet.
I'm aware of.
They haven't,
Yeah, so,
they haven't made a decision.
Okay.
that's it.
Thank you. Michelle?
Good evening, everyone. As we know, it's been a very long, cold weekend. First off, I want to thank the Highway Department for participating, working very hard with little resources of salt and doing an excellent job, first off. Second off, I want to explain the salt issue to all of you so you know. When we have to pre-order our salt, we split it between a county bid and a state bid. So we took $3,500 off the county, we have to take 70%, and we split it with state for $3,000, 70%. With that being said, that was a very good decision because our barn, we've seen the back wall, very scary. We've salted mainly the mains, the intersections, entrances to the cul-de-sac. we were able, due to the OGS bid that we bid 3,000, that we've had orders in to American Rock for a long time, January 20th, going back with no salt. OGS came through, guaranteed the contract price, has come from Albany with, some say Italy salt, some say Egypt salt, whatever, it's salt. Today, we received 6 loads, which is about 250 ton into our barn that, once again, we were at the back wall. And we are doing our best plowing these roads and salting, but we have to conserve because there is no salt on the ground anywhere right now. We have an order into American Rock. We've had 3 into American Rock since January 20th, 22nd, January. Nothing has shown up. Some is off state, some is off county. The county took those the state, excuse me, that we had ordered are delivering presently. We have about 300 more ton. We are at our max with state, but it's at the contract rate, which is a huge savings to the town. We can go to the county next and pull from cemetery. We do have 1,500 ton on American Rock. When will we see it? I call every day. You don't get any answers. So we are in good shape right now. We did well through the storm, I felt. I also want to thank the police department, Chief Gummo's lieutenants. I have reached out to them to be sure I didn't miss anything while John was out of town. I feel as though we did great. Thank you, Bob, also for commenting. Matt, I want to thank you for your due diligence with these people pushing the snow into the road. Contractors, we cleaned the road. They think they can put their snow in our roads. So we have been diligent on that. We are in good shape now.
Good.
Another month of this, I can't guarantee. I put another 750 on American Rock today, hoping. Been pressuring them every day for January's tonnage. You don't get any answers. We can also pull from the county barn on cemetery. We are not at that point yet, but we are done with the state unless we go over our allotment, which we may have to do. Depends what the winter brings. But the town of Lancaster is one of the clearest streets. You see it on the news. We are conserving, we are plowing and then salting. We're doing the best we can with what we have. And I think we've done a pretty good job. To the staff, the guys, trust me, they were zombies by today. Just walking around like, who am I? So credits to them. And John is in New York. He has been in constant touch with me. I stayed back from New York and for the town, and John is learning a lot and also in constant contact. So that's pretty much what we have. What have we been doing? I think we all know. Snow removal.
Absolutely.
I got a stupid spitball question.
Sure.
So you've been placing all these orders with American Rock and they haven't been delivering. So, it comes June and you still haven't received the orders, but those orders have been placed. Are you able to cancel those orders?
No, we will make sure
I'm
our
sure you're going to
barn,
receive some to refill the barn, but
we have received, up to date, we have received, minus our orders from January when everything went crazy. Will we take those orders? 100% we're going to take those orders because those orders are at approximately $40 a ton. Our unknown of our future with everything that's happened this year,
right, so you can roll it into next year.
I can pull up to a certain limit, up to 120 before 120% of those 3,000, 3,500 before the price starts going up. I don't know, but we will take what we can this year. and see where we end up. Will we end up with a full barn? We've used a lot. Everybody's used a lot. It's been a rough winter. It's not like the last 2 winters. You know, it dumps in one weekend. That's a different story than this 26 days of salting.
Nuisance snow.
So
Well,
it
thank you,
is
John, for being on.
what it is.
Much appreciated.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Michelle, I just wanted to tell you, great job. And a resident, I believe from Heathrow, called and just wanted me to relay a message. Great plowing, highway department's doing a wonderful job. They're saying thank you very much. And they mentioned that a sign for Windsor Ridge was down, and the next day it was back up. So she was just thrilled with the highway department, and so I just wanted to relay that.
Well, thank you. And we are aware of Lake Avenue and Sagebrush, that pothole. We're going to try to, we definitely have.
I hit it on the way in.
The patch just isn't holding.
Right.
That's why we really need to move forward with Lake Avenue for sure this year. We're going to patch it again tomorrow, but the patch isn't holding with the cold temperatures, and
Right.
it just doesn't hold.
Right.
My option was, let's fill it with stone, and they told me no. We are going to patch it again tomorrow, though.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Nice job.
Chief?
I'll just touch base, comment on what Michelle said. The one thing that really seems to have been working over, almost 2 years of me doing this now is the communication. Routinely in communication with John and Michelle over at the Highway Department, with Matt. The department heads seem to work really well here, and we communicate very well if there's a problem. Try to make sure we all collaborate to figure it out. So I appreciate that. That's one thing that seems to be working very well. If there's a problem, we know who to call, and we try to manage it amongst each other. So that's very appreciated. Tonight, we have a resolution for 2 Durangos to be purchased. They were budgeted for. They came in way sooner than we had anticipated. We were anticipating them to come, later in the spring, but they are here now. So we would appreciate your support on putting that together. We're going to hopefully potentially get rid of 2 of our oldest SUVs that have been, weathered, we'll say. So, and we're still working actively. I know Nick sent something out earlier this week for dog control to the town of Nunde to get that vehicle for dog control. So I didn't talk to Mike today to see how close we were to being able to facilitate that transaction, but that'll be hopefully within the next week or so.
Okay. Thank you. Nick?
Thank you.
Nick?
Trying to go fast. We're running out of time.
Sorry.
Come on, put a hustle on.
Is that as fast as you can
Try to
walk?
make it quick. Good evening. Hope everybody had a great long weekend. I know last time I was up here, I said I would have the 2024 preliminary results and January 2025 results. We had a bit of a staffing change, so my focus this past week and last week was on payroll and doing a lot of stuff there, but I do have the 2024 preliminary results. And just as a reminder, these are unaudited, subject to change, but I believe them to be a fair representation of how the town ended up from a fiscal standpoint. So the best way to look at this is, in terms of fund balance. Fund balance is essentially the excess or deficit of revenue over expenses. So in totality, the town had a deficit of $678,000. Not a fun thing to get up here and say. Nobody wants to lose money. But when you peel back the numbers, we managed the budget that we were given very well, I would say. The total deficit that was budgeted was around $4 million. So we took in a lot more revenue in terms of interest, and we cut costs in areas that needed to be cut. Renegotiated contracts, got the town out of some bad contracts. So I'll just go through the big 3 funds. I know we're running low on time here. The general fund did the best out of all of the funds and actually came in at a $1.4 million surplus. $840,000 of that was related to the ARPA funds, and that was really just an accounting entry that was made. We had to recognize the ARPA funds in the year that they were used. So we used ARPA funds to fund portions of operations. And then the remainder of the surplus was generated through interest, and by taking advantage of the higher interest rates in the night class, we were able to offset a pretty big deficit there. The next biggest fund, the police fund, had a deficit of $457,000 compared to a budgeted deficit of $1.3 million. Chief did a great job of managing his budget, given the numbers that everybody was given. Then the last biggest fund is the highway fund that had a deficit of around $750,000 and compared to a deficit of $1.4 million. Both John and Michelle, as they are as good as plowing the roads, they did a great job there. Everybody worked together to find ways to fund expenditures without really breaking the bank this year. And then I just wanted to touch on one of the biggest drivers of the deficit is the town's self-insured health insurance fund. Had a deficit of $739,000. We planned to only spend $2.6 million. We spent $3.3 million, and that's high-cost claims. We beefed up the contributions a little bit. We right-sized it, and the employees felt it, unfortunately, but the plan was losing a lot of money, and we did what had to be done. Probably would have been looking at around $1 million lost there. So some things to keep in mind as we go to renew the health insurance this upcoming year. Again, we're looking at right-sizing the budget there, which unfortunately means a higher health insurance premium for the town and for the employees. So long story short, things turned out a lot better than anticipated. And I'm looking forward to managing this upcoming budget. And thank you. Any questions for anybody?
Not at this point. Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we're just about at 7 o'clock, but if you got anything else, let me know. John Trojanowski, how quickly can you speak? No. We can go into the meeting if we have to, after we...
Hopefully you all received a copy of our 2024 annual report. We're very proud of our accomplishments for last year, and we look forward to 2025. I had the pleasure of taking 4 high school students to the New York State Youth Leadership Forum in Albany. They had a great time. They participated in leadership workshops, all kinds of activities, and we had the pleasure of meeting our new assemblyman, Patrick Kluzinski, which was wonderful, and we also had a chance to have a meeting with Senator Patrick Gallaudet, which also went very well.
Great.
And you should have received information about our Hall of Fame nominations. We are now accepting nominations for the Hall of Fame. The ceremony will be taking place on Thursday, May 1st.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good job.
Okay, right on time. Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Lancaster Town Board meeting for February 18th, 2025. Diane, roll call, please.
Councilmember Burkhart.
Here.
Councilmember Dickman. Councilmember Schroeder.
Here.
Councilmember Studley. Here. Supervisor Leary.
Here. Tonight's pledge and invocation will be Councilmember Schroeder. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
Almighty God, thank you for bringing us together today in a spirit of generosity. May we honor one another by keeping an open mind. May we voice our truth and listen with an open heart. And may we discern your will to unite in fruitful outcome.
Thank you. Okay, for tonight's meeting, we're going to have 11 pre-filed resolutions, which is about a third of what we normally do. Pretty amazing. We'll have one public hearing. We'll close in memory of Mark Jasinski and Edward Walker, who happens to be our highway superintendent's uncle. There are no suspended resolutions for tonight. The public hearing is going to be a special use on the special use permit application 5389 Genesee Street, and there are no executive sessions for this evening. Okay, we have a few minutes before the public hearing, so basically I'm going to go around to the town board members and see if there's anything they need to report at this time. Anybody care to report anything?
I do have a report from LVAC.
Okay.
As to their details of their operations in service for January 2025. Their call volume overview, total calls was 439, 248 ALS calls with 223 transports, and 133 BLS, basic life support calls, with 113 transports. They had 58 cancellations. Their response times were 7 minutes, 13 seconds on average. Staffing, we had one full-time EMT resign. One of our per diem EMTs will be taking on the full-time position. And ambulance deployment, their staffing levels have stayed the same as previously reported. Monday through Friday, 5 ambulances are in service peak hours. Saturday and Sunday, 4 ambulances in service during peak hours. Weeknights, 3 ambulances are in service overnight. And we remain committed to providing exceptional emergency medical services to the town of Lancaster. Thank you for your continued support and trust in our team.
Okay, very good. We also heard from the Boys and Girls Club today, and they're going to have a proposal to us by the end of the week. So we'll take a look at that and make some decisions what to do with that once we see exactly what they're looking at. So, anybody else from the town board? Okay, a couple more minutes here, 2 more minutes.
Can I just,
You certainly may.
today's the last day to pay your taxes without penalty. You can put it in the drop box on the Clark Street side of the building until midnight with no penalty. And after that, there'll be penalty. We continue to collect the taxes till the end of June. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so you know, the Rotary Club managed to collect a decent amount of money from the Christmas decorations out in front here. We delivered $4,000 to each of the food banks, and it worked out really well this year. So thank you to everybody who contributed to that. Worked well. So. And I'd started early, but I'd get yelled at by the attorney, so I'm going to blame you for that one.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think of anything else?
Well, as you start and talk, by the time you get done, it's ready.
We'll be at that point where I can actually read it. It's good how we have this banter back and forth in a couple seconds. Can I have a motion to go into the public hearing?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
And there we go, right at 7:05. All right, I'm going to read the legal notice. County of Erie notice of public hearing, Town of Lancaster notice of public hearing on application for a special use permit approval for an outdoor cook shelter and outdoor dining located at 5389 Genesee Street, SBL number 82.19-3-14.1 and 82.19-3-14.2. Lancaster, New York. Legal notice is hereby given that pursuant to the authority set forth in Chapter 400 zoning, Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 400-78, Special Use Permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and pursuant to a resolution adopted by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster on the 21st day of January 2025, the Town Board will hold a public hearing, and that's happening now on the 3rd day of February at 7:05 p.m. right here in Town Hall for the purpose of considering and possibly approving a special use permit application for a restaurant with outdoor cook shelter and outdoor dining located at 5389 Genesee Street. Copies of the proposed application can be reviewed at Town Hall. Full opportunity to be heard will be given to all citizens and any parties in interest by order of the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster. Thank you. So right now, we're going to open up this meeting, this public hearing, to anybody who wants to be heard on what we just went through there on the legal notice occurring at 5389 Genesee Street. It's a special use permit public hearing. Does anybody want to be heard on this particular public hearing? Okay, going once, going twice, seeing no hands raised at this point in time, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion closed.
Can I have a second?
Second.
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, very good. All right, at this point in time, we're going to open up the meeting to persons who want to address the town board on the 11 pre-filed resolutions only. The town board will hear the concerns of persons desiring to address the town board on any of those pre-filed resolutions for a total of 30 minutes. Procedure will be raise your hand and be recognized by the supervisor, give your name and address to the town clerk, speak directly to the town board members, not the audience, using the microphone provided right up here, and speak once for 5 minutes or less, unless the town board grants a speaker an extension of this time limit. Do we have anybody who wants to address the town board at this time on any of the pre-filed resolutions? Okay, again, seeing no hands raised at this point, we are going to move on. We've already done our reports in our committees, unless anybody has anything to add at this point from the town board. Okay, all right, we're going to move into our resolutions. Who's going to be doing Adam's resolutions?
I will be doing number 3, and Mark will take 4 and 7.
Yeah. Okay, Mark's going to check. Thank you. Resolution number 1. Be resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of the town board held February 3rd, 2025 be and are hereby affirmed. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Studley.
Yes.
Supervisor Leary.
Yes. Resolution number 2. Be it resolved that the following audited claims be and are hereby ordered paid from their respective accounts as per abstract to be filed in the office of the town clerk by the supervisor's office, to wit, check run number 02182025. Total amount hereby authorized to be paid, $485,303.29. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Studley.
Yes.
Supervisor Leary.
Yes. Councilmember Studley, number 3, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Board. I offer Resolution 3. Resolved that the following building permit applications be and are hereby reaffirmed. There are 16 total, 7 in the village, 9 in the town. Now therefore be it resolved that the building permit applications herein coded CSW for conditional sidewalk waiver be and are hereby reaffirmed with a waiver of the town ordinance required for sidewalks. However, the waiver is granted upon the express condition that the town of Lancaster, at any future date, reserves the right to order sidewalk installation at the expense of the property owner.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Studley.
Yes.
Supervisor Leary.
Yes. Councilmember Burkhart, number 4, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I'm offering Resolution 4 for adoption. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has held a public hearing on March 6, 2023, pursuant to Chapter 50 zoning, Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 50-78 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. Upon the application of Benderson Development Company, LLC, on behalf of Transit William Associates for a special use permit to allow Rachel's Mediterranean Grill to operate a patio with outdoor seating on premises located at 4931 Transit Road, Building 4933, Suite 100, in the town of Lancaster. Whereas by letter dated January 27, 2025, James A. Baglioli has requested that the town board renew the special use permit for an additional 2-year term, and whereas Matt Ficione, Code Enforcement Officer, has completed an on-site inspection and found the permit may be renewed for an additional 2-year period with the addition of the following condition. Applicant will always maintain the means of egress from the restaurant's north exit to the public way. Now therefore be it resolved as follows: the town board of the town of Lancaster does hereby grant a renewal of special use permit to Rachel's Mediterranean Grill on premises located at 4931 and 4933 Transit Road in the town of Lancaster upon the terms and conditions as set forth in the zoning ordinance for the period March 14th, 2025 through March 13th, 2027. 2, that the applicant will continue in compliance with conditions as set forth special use permit of the town of Lancaster as long as the applicant continues to engage in the said business and to any additional conditions listed herein, namely, and it's the same 6 conditions.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 5. Whereas Anthony Pandolfo submitted an application on behalf of United Rentals for a special use permit for the United Rentals container storage located at 2 Benzel Court, SBL number 105.00-1-16.2 in the town of Lancaster, New York. And whereas Chapter 400 zoning, Article 14 administration and enforcement, Section 400-78 special use permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires that the town board conduct a public hearing before the issuance of a special use permit for a use as proposed. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Section 400-78 of the zoning code of the Town of Lancaster, a public hearing on the proposed special use permit for United Rentals container storage located at 2 Benzel Court in the town of Lancaster will be held at the Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, on the 3rd day of March 2025 at 7:05 p.m., and that notice of said time and place of such hearing be published in the official newspaper of general circulation in the town of Lancaster, be posted on the town bulletin board, and that a copy of such notice of hearing be referred to the Erie County Department of Planning pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law, which notice shall be in the form attached hereto and made a part hereof. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Okay, resolution number 6. Whereas the town board is considering the proposed rehabilitation of an existing restaurant to include building and site improvements submitted by Timothy Boyle, applicant for Chevetta's Chicken, on a approximately 1.44 acre parcel located at 5389 Genesee Street in the town of Lancaster. And whereas the town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the environmental impact of this project pursuant to seeker regulations at their meeting on February 5th, 2025, and recommended a negative declaration be issued. And whereas the town board has duly considered the plans for the project using the short environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in 6 NYCRR Section 617.7C of the State Environmental Quality Review Act regulations, and such other information deemed appropriate, including the recommendation of the Town of Lancaster Planning Board. And whereas the town board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas, and has made a reasoned elaboration of the basis for its determination. And whereas the proposed action has been labeled an unlisted action under seeker, now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Lancaster that 1, this project is described as the rehabilitation of an existing restaurant to include building and site improvements located at 5389 Genesee Street, and will not result in any large and important environmental impacts, and therefore will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment. 2, the reasons supporting this determinations are set forth on there's an attached notice of determination of non-significance with respect to this project. 3, the town board as lead agency with reference to the above described action hereby adopts the attached negative declaration of environmental significance. 4, the town clerk shall file a copy of the negative declaration in the file for the project. 5, the town attorney's office shall prepare and file a notice of determination with the petitioner and with all required New York State and Erie County agencies, filing a copy of the letter of transmittal. And 6, this resolution is effective immediately. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Burkhart, number 7, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I offer Resolution 7 for adoption. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has previously held a public hearing pursuant to Chapter 400 zoning, Article 14 Administration and Enforcement, Section 78 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, upon the application of Ronald Frankowiak for a special use permit for a home occupation mortgage broker office on premises located at 10 Sussex Lane, Lancaster, and the board issued such special use permit on March 2nd, 2009. This special use permit is subject to renewal upon application by the property owner. And whereas by letter dated January 30th, 2025, Ronald Frankowiak has requested that the town board renew the special use permit for an additional 2-year period. And whereas Matt Ficcione, Code Enforcement Officer for the Town of Lancaster, has recommended renewal of this special use permit, renewal in his letter dated February 6, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The Town of Lancaster, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster does hereby grant the renewal of special use permit to Ronald Frankowiak for a home occupation on premises located at 10 Sussex Lane, Lancaster, upon the terms and conditions as set forth in the zoning ordinance for the period beginning March 2nd, 2025 and ending March 1st, 2027. And 2, that the applicant will continue in compliance with conditions as set forth in Chapter 50, Article 14, residential districts of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and 2 additional conditions listed herein, as long as the applicant continues to engage in the home occupation on the premises, namely, and it's the same 3 conditions.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Schroeder, number 8, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I move resolution number 8. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has duly advertised for bids for furnishing to the Town of Lancaster the necessary trees for the 2025 tree planting program in accordance with specifications on file with the Town Clerk of the Town of Lancaster. And whereas 2 bids were duly received and opened on February 6, 2025, and whereas Schichtel's Nursery, Inc., 7420 Peters Road, Springville, New York, has submitted the lowest responsible bid in the amount of $6,896 for furnishing said trees to the Town of Lancaster, and whereas Maintenance Crew Chief Carmen Ciccarelli, by letter dated February 7, 2025, requests the Town Board to accept the bid of Schichtel's Nursery, and whereas the same letter, the Maintenance Crew Chief has requested that he be authorized to purchase additional trees at the 2025 bid prices from Schichtel's Nursery at his discretion for whatever other tree plantings the town may incur in 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the bid of Schichtel's Nursery, Inc., 7420 Peters Road, Springville, New York, being the lowest responsible bid in conformance with the specifications relating hereto, that be and hereby is accepted. And be it further resolved that the Maintenance Crew Chief be and is hereby authorized to place orders with Schichtel Nursery for those trees which the Town of Lancaster needs for its 2025 tree planting program. And be it further resolved that the Maintenance Crew Chief be and is hereby authorized to purchase additional trees at the 2025 bid prices from Schichtel's Nursery at his discretion for whatever other tree plantings the town may incur in 2025.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Studley, number 9, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Board. I offer resolution number 9, whereas Captain Jonathan Zeiters for the Town of Lancaster Police Department by email request dated February 11th, 2025, has requested the purchase of 2 new 2025 Dodge Durango Pursuit vehicles for use by the Lancaster Police Department. And whereas the vehicles will be purchased through the Onondaga County Law Enforcement Contract, awarded to Robert Green Auto and Truck, Inc. of Rock Hill, New York, which will eliminate the need for competitive bidding pursuant to Chapter 103, Section 103 of the General Municipal Law, and whereas the cost per vehicle is $46,089.03 for a total of $92,178.06 for the two vehicles, to be paid from the budget line 3120-220 passenger vehicles. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby approves the purchase of the two new 2025 Dodge Durango Pursuit vehicles from Robert Green Auto and Truck, Inc. of Rock Hill, New York, and this will be purchased as part of the Onondaga County Law Enforcement Contract for a total amount not to exceed $92,178.06, which will be paid from the passenger vehicles budget line.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 10. Basically, our payroll person is no longer working with the town of Lancaster, so we're taking one of the part-time people in my office and moving her from part-time, where she can only work 19 and a half hours a week, to where she can work more hours in that position, helping out with payroll with the rest of the office at this point, until we get that position permanently filled. Whereas Robert Leary, Supervisor of the Town of Lancaster, has recommended Account Clerk Lindsay Martin be changed from part-time permanent employment to part-time temporary seasonal employment in the Town of Lancaster Supervisor's Office. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the following individual is hereby appointed to the following part-time temporary seasonal position in the Town of Lancaster Supervisor's Office for a period not to exceed 5 months, ending July 18, 2025, and that this being a part-time position provides no health insurance, sick days, vacations, or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time temporary employees. And again, it will be Lindsay Martin, Account Clerk, $22.51 an hour. Be it resolved, effective February 18, 2025, today, be it further resolved that the Supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 11. Whereas on October 7, 2024, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster adopted a resolution appointing Ronald Capozzi of Depew, New York, to the position of Assistant Code Enforcement Officer within the Town of Lancaster Building and Zoning Department. And whereas on November 4, 2024, the Town Board adopted a resolution amending the salary of Ronald Capozzi. And whereas an administrative error has been found and requires correction, the appointment of Ronald Capozzi is a provisional hire, contingent upon approval by Erie County Department of Personnel, and that such appointment shall be subject to all applicable provisions of the collective negotiations agreement between the Town of Lancaster and the CSEA White Collar Union, and all applicable provisions of law, also contingent upon successful completion of the Erie County Civil Service Examination. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby recognizes amending the appointment of Ronald Capozzi of Depew to the position of Assistant Code Enforcement Officer, provisional, full-time in the Town of Lancaster Building and Zoning Department, contingent upon approval by the Erie County Department of Personnel, and be it further resolved that the Supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. That concludes our pre-filed resolutions. At this point, we're going to move on to the presentation of communications by the town clerk. Okay. Numbers 91 through 94, received and filed. 95, Planning and Zoning Committee. 96, Planning and Zoning Committee. 97, received and filed. 98, Planning and Zoning Committee. 99, resolution tonight. 100, received and filed. 101, resolution tonight. 102, received and filed. 103, resolution tonight. 104, received and filed. 105, Planning and Zoning Commission. 106, received and filed. 107, received and filed. 108, received and filed. 109 and 110 and 111, received and filed. 112, Youth and Senior Committee. 113, resolution tonight. 114, Town Board and Police Chief. And 115, received and filed. Okay. At this point in our meeting, the town board will hear the concerns of any persons desiring to address the town board on any town of Lancaster subject for a total period of 30 minutes. The procedures are: raise your hand and be recognized by the supervisor, give your name and address to the town clerk, speak directly to the town board members, not the audience, using the microphone provided, and speak once for 5 minutes or less unless the town board grants a speaker an extension of this time limit. Is there anybody here tonight who would like to address the town board on any matter? Yes, sir.
Kevin Lee Master, 720 Schwartz. You mentioned about the Boys and Girls Club. They're going to be coming back next week with that, so that was covered. Is there been any up-to-date anything on the baseball contract with the town?
We met with baseball people. What was I don't remember the exact date. But we talked to the baseball people, and basically, we're trying to get something for the future. The contract that we have with them right now for the facility, we talked about that a bit. It's still valid for a couple more years. They'd like to continue on with that, and, we'd like to negotiate. What was it?
February 4th.
February 4th. Like to continue on with that as well and negotiate a contract where they're paying for, because we're close to paying off the bond, a couple more years. But after that, they want to continue to use that facility, so the contract there will come up with a number, that everybody can live with for maintenance. And we also talked about a couple other things, maybe in lieu of paying a monthly whatever, they may, help us fix up the field or put some lights up or something. So that's where that stands. The actual usage.
The original usage problem was worked out.
Yeah, the original usage problem was worked out, where all the teams who wanted to use, the fields are getting the Brickyard. Well, the team that wanted it is getting the Brickyard 1 week.
Fenway and Keezer.
That was the Brickyard.
Wednesdays. It's Fenway is the 70.
Okay, my humble apologies. They're going to use Westwood 1 week, go to Keezer the next week. That's what all the teams in the Little League are doing, and the team that's not in the Little League, we put everybody pretty much the same on that.
Okay, and lighting.
What's
Let's
that?
control the lighting after 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning. It shines in my back window.
And that's pretty much enforcement that somebody's got to go and make sure they turn it off, because it's supposed to be set, but if somebody doesn't do that, hits the button, keeps it on, that's got to end. So
Super.
make sure
Thank you.
That's done. Okay. Anyone else want to address the town board at this point? Yes, sir.
Before you start timing me, I have something to say.
Okay.
Outside of the mic. First off, I found out through a dear friend of mine that's on social networks, with especially this one, that I have a fan club. And it's a fan club towards Supervisor Larry. I've been called your spokesperson, even an operative. A political crony, and a privileged character. Now, Mr. Supervisor, didn't I talk to you even before you ran for office for this position that please run?
Yes, you did.
Thank you. So if you're watching my fan club, did you hear that? Thank you.
Yep. Paul says what Paul needs to say. He doesn't say what I ask him to say. I never get interfered.
You never have and you never will. I'm my own man.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Now, Paul Nosbus Jr., I live at 31 Newell Avenue in the village of Lancaster. With the Boys and Girls Club,
As usual, like you all know me already, I research things. So when I looked into this Boys and Girls Club, their sponsors are Buffalo Bills Foundation, New Wave Energy Corporation, Kelly for Kids Foundation, Walmart, Lakeside Concretes, West Her, Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, Russell's with Mr. Salvatore's. Moving on with that, I had to look at, this is their own website. Looking at that, their executive director, David Hodge, I had to look at deep research with him. I found out that he was a registered Democrat, and he gave his financials to certain Democrats. So the more I looked at that, even though the gentleman that got before you, who was a developer, Mr. Sweeney, running for this as a council member, I more than answered for myself. This is just politics at its worst. Then I thought to myself, Village of Lancaster doesn't give, even though the Boys and Girls Club of Lancaster is on Broadway within our village, they don't give they don't sponsor the Boys and Girls Club. I looked at Depew. They don't sponsor the Depew Boys and Girls Club. And so I thought to myself, wait a minute, the town of Lancaster has their own town's recreation department. When my sons were young, we used that. My grandsons now use the same thing. Why would the town, or why would they think they're privileged, the Boys and Girls Club, to give any money from the town and the taxpayers when nobody else does it? So it just, this whole thing is, it's not even about the Boys and Girls Club. I already figured that out. It's all within the realm of politics, and it really stinks. Now, what's in my own opinion, what's being forgotten, Mr. Supervisor and council members, you've been at this since January. It's only February. So far, you have accomplished the moratorium, the salt issue you have ran into, the New York State Comptroller, who's a Democrat. How much money was out there somewhere where Nick had to find millions? Correct me, how much? Millions.
Approximately what, 9.2, 9.3, somewhere, yeah.
Of taxpayers' money was lost from the last Democrat supervisor, where his 4 people that were working underneath the financial realm quit on him at the same time. And now you're even with LVAC, the issues. I mean, you've been getting hit one after another, one after another, and one after another. And you always come out of it. And all the town residents should be proud that we finally have a town supervisor and council members that think about them and think about where their money is going. Where I believe, and this is no joke now, okay? Don't take it as a joke. I love President Donald J. Trump, and I believe what he's doing. So he has DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. I think the town supervisor and council members officially should call theirs DOTE, D-O-T-E, Department of Town Efficiency, because for the last, it's not even February, it's not even over, that's exactly what you have all been doing. And I congratulate you. Before I leave, as President Donald J. Trump would say, and I feel about this in the town, even though I'm a village dweller, making America great again. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to address the town board at this time? Please raise your hand. Yes, sir.
Tom Sweeney, 22 Ashwood Court. I see you have several fans in the audience as well. Thank you from my fan club. Every time I come here, it seems like my name is used, which is perfectly fine. As of now, 100%, as we all know now, 100% of the Depew Lancaster Boys and Girls Club funding has been cut from the budget after more than 30 years of funding, reportedly since 1994. This is obvious to me, but maybe not to others, but the villages of Depew and the villages of Lancaster pay town tax, right? So there would be no need for the villages individually to participate and pay additional funds into something like the Boys and Girls Club. They're already paying tax into the town. I just want to make that clear from the last meeting. I did a little research on the topic, and I wanted to make sure that I and our community understand what's happening. And we now see that the funding was removed from the budget line item that was passed unanimously in November of 2024. Our local Boys and Girls Club is a member of the national organization, the Boys and Girls Club of America, that oversees the club. We know that the local organization is also audited annually. It leads me to wonder if the town has requested, received, and reviewed these audit reports annually. I don't know if that's the case or not. In public statements, I have heard that funding for these programs is improper and that the town is unable to fund programming supporting the staffing needs of those programs. In the contract between the town and the Depew Lancaster Boys and Girls Club, and I'll quote, "For such program operation, which includes but is in no way limited to costs with equipment, materials, supplies, labor, insurance, rent, taxes, and utilities." All of those things are included in the contract that the town would pay the Depew Lancaster Boys and Girls Club. In that same contract, Section 6 states that the town shall retain the right to inspect and audit the operation of the program and shall have reasonable access to whatever records or any other information that is necessary to ensure compliance by the club within the terms of the agreement. I assume we're doing that annually. And I'm surprised we didn't go through that process, or we didn't hear of any of that last year. Through the entire year, as the budget was being developed, I watch and or attend these meetings regularly. In their 2023 audit report, under the economic dependency, which is a key section, which I assume the town has reviewed as part of their due diligence, on page 11, part 7, a material, and I'll quote, "A material portion of the club's revenues are received from the town of Lancaster. Any decrease in this funding from this source could materially affect the ability to continue and is an ongoing concern." So that was right in their annual audit report, as has been reported continuously. This leads me to ask a basic question of all council members here. Did you not know that the funding was being removed, or did you purposely vote for the removal of that budget, that removal of that funding when the budget was passed? I think the community has a right to know where each of you stands. At the end of the day, God calls us really to do three things, right? We heal the sick, we feed the poor, and we take care of the weakest among us. And that's why I'm here. This is not political. This is not a game. Appreciate your time.
Okay. A couple of responses to a couple of the things you said there. Nick, do you want to step up here and talk about the review and what we found during the review? Again, I cannot account for what other supervisors did when they were in this office. A lot of these things were never brought to our attention. Like I said, when I got into office, I'm going to take a look at everything. And what we found out through our review of the finances, through our communications with our attorney, Jennifer Strong, was basically that this amount of money that we were giving over to the Boys and Girls Club, we couldn't do it the way it was being done. Okay, so Nick, you could talk about the finances and what we found as we looked through there.
Sure, yeah. So actually this summer we reached out to the Boys and Girls Club and requested all of their audited financial statements dating back to 2020. Those are on file in my office if anybody wants to look at them. I did see the economic dependency note. I think roughly 23.9% of the the Boys and Girls Club revenue comes from the town. So out of $1 million, 245,000, right about there. So that still leaves the Boys and Girls Club with roughly $750,000 coming in to fund their operations. So it is a hit per se, but I don't think it would completely taint the organization. Audited financial statements are interesting. They're certified. The numbers on there are independently audited by a CPA firm, but in terms of transparency, they're very high level. You know, you have a line item that says supplies, $1 million. Okay, what supplies? You have equipment, $200,000. What equipment? So you can kind of see where I'm going with that. So I think I brought this to Supervisor Leary's attention during the budget process. If you were here in the work session, you heard that I got up here and said that the town had a preliminary deficit of $678,000. That's due to mismanagement of the financials, poor budgeting practices, and a historic amount of fund balance used. Actually, the most fund balance that has ever been used in a budget that I could find in the last 20 years. So we cut hundreds of thousands of dollars from the budget. We cut a van for the Youth Bureau, $65,000. We cut a dog control vehicle, $85,000, that we were later able to get a grant for. We cut some money from paving, had to do it. We cut, new positions, and the Boys and Girls Club was $245,000 that I couldn't see justifiable at the time. So I guess it really comes down to we have obligation, my personal opinion, to keep taxes low and to also right-size the budget that we were given. $4 million deficit passed in the 24 budget. We cut about $1 million off of that. So $3 million deficit, still not good, but 25%. I would like by the end of Supervisor Leary's first term to have minimal deficit in the budget, meaning that, revenues equal expenses. I think that's a fair goal. And like you've said repeatedly, we would like to see what we're funding.
Right. So did you find a separate account where it had the town money going into that account where we could see how those town funds were being spent?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No invoices either that showed what town funds paid for.
Right, so part of this agreement says in there that basically any of the money spent by the town that are utilized to purchase anything at the Boys and Girls Club, the town owns, is that correct? Did we see any records of that?
No.
Okay. So again, basically it comes down to, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically it comes down to.
You are the best.
It comes down to, you can't do this under municipal law, the state of New York. It shouldn't have been done before. I can't account for why it was done before, okay? But it shouldn't have been done before. It's also against the Constitution of the state of New York. So what we're looking for now is very plain and simple, okay? And it also says in the agreement that the town is overseeing what's going on there. That wasn't happening. It's not just we may know about some programs somewhere. No, the town has to approve whatever programs are being run there, and we have to keep track of how they're being run. So again, what we're looking for right now is for the Boys and Girls Club, and they're going to bring us in what they want funded. We're going to take a look at it. We're going to make sure that it's not duplicative of what we offer in the rec department or the youth bureau, and we'll run that by our department heads, okay, to see if it is. Then we'll run it by the town board to see what they think of specific funding. And if it's in the best interest of the town of Lancaster, then we may decide to go ahead and fund that. I know we're running a basketball program right now, that type, and again, you look at the agreement, originally it was just for, it says right on there, recreational. So again, nothing to do with, any art classes or anything else that wasn't even included in the original. But we will take a look at different programs that they offer to see if it's advantageous to the residents of the town of Lancaster, and then we'll decide whether we're going to be able to fund that or not. Okay, so that's exactly what we're looking for. That's what we're waiting for. Once we get it, we'll look at it and we'll let people know how that comes out. But there were various reasons for doing it. We went through all the appropriate steps, looking at it financially.
I have
So
a follow-up question.
certainly,
Why wasn't this done last year when you took office?
because the resolution for funding the Boys and Girls Club was done in the year before. So it had already passed, and I was not aware of all the issues that were involved in this until you don't know everything that's going on until you get into this office. So when we got through our financial issues, it came up at that point. If you look at the agreement, I didn't even sign the agreement. It was signed by Ron. I don't know why it was dated the January 1st. Shouldn't have been, but he signed it. So again, didn't know the problems that existed. When I got into office, took a look at it, found the issues, taking the appropriate steps to resolve it.
But we didn't take any steps last year during the budgetary process to get to the bottom of this problem before it becomes a problem when we're sitting here in February and the organization is fundamentally unfunded. If it weren't for the Stony Brook Lights money, they would be closed and the doors would be locked. Those families would have nowhere for their kids to go.
Okay, well, if they could, hang on, Kevin, thank you. If we had known where the $3.6 million had gone, it would have been helpful. We didn't know any of that. Again, I can't account for previous supervisors. And unfortunately, town board members don't have, are usually privy to this stuff. So thank God I found it, and basically we passed it along to the town board, and we're gonna do things in the correct way going forward. So again, when we say we're all about the children, and as I talked about at the Chamber of Commerce meeting, you can take a look at our Youth Bureau, which is second to none in the community. Our recreational programs are second to none. We help out thousands upon thousands of children year after year after year. We're building new fields. We're fixing up our old fields. We take care of the children as best we can. This is about accountability, and this is about following the laws of the state of New York. So that's what we're going to do going forward, and so that's where we stand at this point. So hopefully we can work something out with them, and we can continue forward in that regard as well.
There are families in need, for sure.
And you should come to our Day of Giving at the Youth Bureau. Spectacular day. So impressive to be there.
I'm working with John to write the very first website for 1998.
Great. And you can see how good that is and how many families we help out. There's a new booklet out for 2024, which again talks about the Day of Giving, talks about Thanksgiving, talks about a whole bunch of other programs that the town is working with the lower income families in the community. We're all about it. We're all about helping people. I'm on the Rotary Club. We help out people. Again, that's what it's all about. So honestly, I don't need a lecture about helping people out. We're always trying to help people out. That is what life is all about. This is about accountability and following New York State law. And if we can get that done and fund some programs, we'll bring it to the town board's attention and we'll decide what we can and can't do. Okay? Thank you very much.
Supervisor Leary, comment, please. Thank you. I want to bring this up, piggybacking on what Nick has brought forth. You, as a supervisor, did not take the salary raise, which you could have done, but you didn't. The last supervisor, when I researched, he complained about he wasn't satisfied. Democrat Ron wasn't satisfied. I found this out in writing. The first week he was in, he was literally pissed off because he couldn't get a raise. The first week in. What did you do with the salary raise? You didn't even accept it.
Thank you. By God's good graces, I have enough money that I didn't need to take it. So let's, thank you, appreciate it.
Taken it, sir. You could have taken it, but you
I didn't need it, so I didn't take
didn't need
it.
it.
So thank you. Appreciate
to
it.
help the residents out.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else want to address the town board at this time? Okay, seeing no further hands up, can I have a motion to close this meeting?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Diane, roll call.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you very much, folks. Take care.
Here.
No, I think it's been up today, so it might be 2 days.
Okay.
So if
All right.
tomorrow I'll get it out.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.